and I'm going to talk about urban and rural inequalities, the case of education in Zambia. The world has diverse forms of disparities or inequalities in terms of income and wealth distribution. These inequalities have remained very high across all dimensions of human life. And so various global platforms and open working groups have been set up to address a number of these inequalities, particularly in the light of the Millennium Development Goals, whose deadline is the year 2015. Now, let's quickly look at some of the causes of inequalities. We know inequalities are driven by numerous factors ranging from policies and attitudes, discrimination and exclusion, weak labor and social protection laws. And those are some of the grave factors that bring about inequalities. Some of these bad laws and policies, they entrench marginalization of certain groups of the population, thereby making it increasingly difficult for them to access public goods. In the rural-urban scenario, inequalities are propelled by serious underinvestment and neglect of certain geographic areas, sectors and population groups. Now let's look at the MDG 2 and 3 targets. Now in terms of human development outcomes in relation to MDG targets, some significant improvements have been made in areas of access to public goods such as access to quality education and reproductive health, maternal and child survival rates, access to clean water and sanitation. Now this improvement in access has been significant in narrowing the rural-urban disparities, but you all know that it's actually impossible. It's impossible to eradicate these inequalities. This is because, well, like I said earlier on, we have urban areas that have a working class, most of the population is a working class population, and rural areas that most of them are not in formal employment, and they don't do any viable businesses, and therefore they cannot compete in terms of income and wealth. They cannot compete with those in the urban areas. Now, I said that this is in respect to MDG 2, education in Zambia, and so I'll just give you a few statistics from the 2013 Millennium Development Goal report on Zambia, which was done by UNDP, United Nations Development Programme. Now on MDG 2, whose target is to ensure that by 2015, children everywhere, boys and girls alike, will be able to complete a full course of primary schooling. That's the target. Now Zambia has accelerated quite well on this target, and from 71.1% net enrollment in primary schools in 2000, when the EFA goals and the MDGs were actually pronounced, primary school enrollment has increased by 22.5% in the last 10 years. So this gives Zambia a total net enrollment as of 2010, 93.7%. Out of this group, 90.8% of the boys successfully completed grade 7 by 2010, as opposed to 80% in the year 2003. And 89.6% girls completed grade 7 in 2010 against 66% in 2003. So already we can see that tremendous efforts have been made to run towards the achievement of this goal. So on this score, we can safely say we are doing fine as a nation as we race towards the deadline of 2015, which is next year. Now, let me talk about quality versus quantity. We know that these targets, the Millennium Development Goal 2, which talked about children everywhere, boys and girls alike, accessing primary school education. It brought about a lot of recruitment drive, like enrollment drive, to get all the children into school. Okay, so despite this impressive record that we have made as a country, we've had so many children go into school. a lot of kids access to school. Those that were not in school were able to go back to school. Remember policies like send a girl child to school, policies like the re-entry policy. Those that left school after falling pregnant were given an opportunity to go back to school and continue with learning. Now, as a result of this, and so many community schools came on board, a lot of community schools, more than 400 community schools were established in the country to help make the country achieve that target of getting a lot of children into school. Well, yes, we did that. A lot of children got into school. But then what was the impact? We got a very negative impact, because remember, during the period 2000, around that period, we were not really recruiting a lot of teachers, because we were trying to meet our HIPIC goals. Zambia was among the highly indebted poor countries, and therefore there was a lot of fiscal discipline. We were not spending a lot as a nation, because we wanted to meet the target so that we can have the burden debt relief. And as a result, teachers were not being employed. So on one hand, we are enrolling a lot of pupils into school. On the other hand, we are not recruiting teachers. So what was the end result? We had these bloated classrooms. We had classes that were really overcrowded. The teacher-pupil ratio became extremely big, so much so that our kids in school were not getting the attention they deserved from the teachers. So the National Assessment Survey, which was conducted, showed that learning performance for a long time remained constant at 40%. And Zambia's literacy levels, we know, are amongst the lowest in the SADC region. This therefore calls for a very serious need to step up on quality delivery, as spelled out by the UN General Secretary. The aspect of getting children into school was good, but it compromised quality. So the United Nations, in September 2012, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon launched the 5-year education initiative. This initiative has put education first in the post-2015 framework. Because remember, we may not have achieved all the targets by 2015. And therefore, we started planning for what will happen after 2015. And we've seen the negative side of having all these children get into classes without good teachers, without corresponding input of learning materials, teaching materials, and therefore quality became compromised. Now, as a result of that, governments are taking initiatives now to increase quality. So in the next segment, I'm going to talk about what measures, what steps have been put in place to help enhance quality in our education system. Okay, thank you.